Yes, serendipity.
Tyler McKnight here with Draplin from Portland, Oregon. One of the most renowned graphic designers in the nation. You can say whatever you want to that. We're here with
Debatable.
AAF Lubbock, and Aaron's going to be doing what do you want to call it, a symposium, keynote? What do we call it?
A day with Lubbock, I think.
Day with Lubbock.
I do my talk, and then we do a workshop where we just sort of behind the scenes it, and completely transparent, show how I work and how I connect the same lines that they connect, and my little sprinkle of sort of madness, because I show how much I work, I show how I work, I show projects that I can't talk about, and then I also show stuff that people would never know about, right? So that's the fun part, because I've gone to these things when I was a kid, and you pay for them, and it's the same shit they have on their website,
right,
or the same shit that they're known for, So today is just about saying, I'm just like you guys. Here it is. So that's exciting for me. It's kind of odd and fun, and you see people go, you see people sort of like, I've never seen him do that. That's fun to me, because we are doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
Still a twist.
So, quick question, when you were our age and you were coming up as a graphic designer, did you have anybody you looked up to, or?
So if I'm 44, how old are you?
About 45. I'm kidding, 28.
Let's just keep it straight here. Okay. Okay, so if you take 25-year-olds and 20-year-olds and 33-year-olds or something, every year I had a different set of people I looked up to for different reasons. If I was 24 when I was kind of jumping into this stuff, it would have been contemporary designers, of course. And at the time it would have been Chuck Anderson's House Industries, T26, the guys that I saw sort of on a little more pedestrian, accessible design stuff. At the time it was the raging 90s, which was all this postmodern stuff. You weren't even alive yet. But the idea that morphed into something a little less heroic when I got into, making magazines. My heroes were people, old Swiss modernists and stuff. Because it was all about just how to make information in a time where everything's going all over the place. My heroes you couldn't even find out who made, it was like people who made immigration forms, because that's design that everyone got to use. And not just for those who could afford it. So, at 44, I could give you, 10 people that I look up to right now, and a lot of them are younger than me, or they're girls that are just redefining how this thing should go for dudes. I love that. I love that girls are shaking it up, and you can't out, Gemma O'Brien. You can't out Mary-Kate McDevitt. You can't. These girls just are making things so special. That's a game changer. So that's heroic to me now. But there's always someone. A lot of my, things I would think about right now who would, really get me going. It's like Bernie Sanders. It's not even design.
Great graphic designer.
Well, it's more just people that are sticking their neck out there.
Right.
Because it's the same thing that I try to apply that to what I do. I'm not solving healthcare with my graphic design, but I do put a drop in the bucket sometimes, and that isn't necessarily for a paycheck. So, long answer.
So you love your job?
I love it, yeah.
Okay, good. That's good.
It doesn't feel like a job. That's the fun part. It's yes, this is what I do for a living, but it gets real blurry between when you have to be on the job, because I have a studio and I am just there.
Right.
Now, sometimes I'm working for the client, sometimes I'm just working for myself, and that's real blurry between the two. And what a great privilege. Because I was prepared for just working and hating it and getting pushed around. I did that for a while, but it's crucial. It's part of it. It's going to be that way for everyone. But I was prepared for a life of that. And then I tasted a little bit of that and then figured out a way out, And that was just kind of, elbow grease.
So how did you start? Were you originally in graphic design, or was it, old school design on paper and pen?
A little bit. Right out of high school at 17 years old, 1991, it was just 1 year before was wax sprayers and cutting out things and rubbing transfers and stuff. That's just a couple years before. And with the computer coming into play, you could type your name out and then print that thing out, and that changed everything. So I was on this cusp. Of course, I didn't have a computer, so I had to paint and draw and do whatever it took just to be creative, but with just pen and ink. But that taught me how to make clean lines and basically doing the same thing that they were doing 10 years before me. And then I would scan it into a computer, but I didn't have one, right? So when I finally got my computer in 96, that's where I had access, and I really accelerated because I had all the tools. But before that, it sucked not having them. Before that, I didn't have the machine. Yes, I was held back, but I was still painting and drawing and doing lots of stuff and making good use of my time. I wasn't lamenting, that. You know how we did it? We would sneak into a community college and just use their machines. My one buddy, Francesco Bolello at whatever the hell, cocc.edu was this address, emails, my first email that about 8 of us shared. Like, just because we just go sign in with his thing and you could use the machines. And I would draw in PageMaker, right? Because it was just about like architecture at that point. So, I don't know. I mean, a lot of the old school things that I look at now, I just have great appreciation for the amount of restraint people had and how hard it was to make the things. When I was a little boy, 1979, I'm 6 years old, it was harder to make the stuff. And yet some of the decisions, with that much more piled on them, the work was better in some respects. So like logos. When you're having to paint and draw and craft and cut paper and whatever the hell, to make that mark, you understand every corner of it. And you understand what it looks like 10 feet away, and then 100 feet away, right? And then right in front of your face. But now, things look good on a laptop, kind of only sometimes. And then you see them break down when they're on a highway. So we've lost a little bit of that stuff. So people will say, well, you're into retro. No, I'm not into retro. I mean, sure, I'm into things that work.
Yeah.
That's a little different. That is an unmesswithable principle, right? So, I don't know. I try to make my work the same way.
So, do you think that with all this new technology and design tools, do you think it's made designers a little complacent, or it's made the job easier, and that almost anyone can do it now? I mean, I can get on a computer and I can do Photoshop all day long. It's not gonna look good, but
well, I mean, you could just see the gap.
Yeah.
And sure, anyone can kind of crack it open. There's a democratization of this stuff too, which is you don't have to have a degree to go play with it. That's cool. Because I meet kids who did not have whatever funny little set of steps I attained or had handed over. They have none of that, and they're doing great work because they're just scrapping for it, right? That's really cool, because if we go back to when I started, you had to have a degree. You had to understand how to, there was like some kind of an accreditation to then get into these things. I thought you had to have an art school degree. Turns out you kind of don't. It was fun to go. I would tell every kid in school, stay in school and just do it. It's awesome. Pay the loans, all this shit, learn as much as you can. But it's more like, I don't know, you can see the gap between the craftspeople and the people who are just starting. But I don't know, I just like the idea of like, if you're into scrapbook, that the person can go and like typeset their little, caption and cut that out of a print, and it's just a little better than their maybe crusty handwriting. That's graphic design. And if that makes that experience of, looking at your last trip to Branson, and you're going through it, that's cool to me. That's like my aunt. That's anyone. That's really interesting. It's not like you didn't have to hire someone to go figure that out for you.
Right.
But yet, then you see, like I just had a guy like last week lament to me, well, we tried 3 logos from India for $4.99 a piece. And I was like, well, what do you expect, man? Of course it's rough. You bought them for $5. But that's the culture we're in. The problem is that at least they had a little bit of shame to be like, I can't live with this thing on our sign.
Right.
A lot of people don't. It's just $5, put it on the thing, and then you're left with it for too long. And that's just, you just become noise.
And the biggest problem with that is that, in my opinion, is because the client has no idea that this isn't good work. They want to get what's cheap up, and then they're paying you to tell them what is. So they get these agencies or freelancers from Fiverr or whatever to create these logos. Like, I got it cheap, and they put it up. And
well, I think there's a gap between, we used to be these sort of like, it's sort of harder to find us.
Right.
Like these people can make this stuff right for you. Now you can do one web search. Like just the vocabulary is easier to get to. How do I make a logo? Put that search in, and these little things come up.
Right.
And I don't think it's necessarily bad, because if it is someone who's a Scrapbookers Club of Lubbock and they need a little something, that person can quickly, for $5, get something. fine. But it's going to look like all the other stuff they pumped out, you know? What's interesting is just how people, you know, like you see it like in weddings, where you go to Target, and Target has some templates. They're really nice. But then you see where someone said, no, I saw something on Pinterest that's beautiful, and then they know how to go hire a designer. That's the process. That's good, because then they're paying for it. They're getting that incredible level of detail. That's interesting to me, because they're reacting to, like, they didn't just take the low-hanging fruit. Oh, Walmart only offers this in their wedding section, you know, which a lot of people get railroaded into, you know. So I don't know. I mean, how do people find me? Well, it's on the web. You know, when I get them, I teach them how fun this stuff is. And then you give design a good name, you know, and hopefully do a good job, because then they'll go tell their friends, and then the process keeps going. But what a weird time, because, you know, if you think when I started, a computer made a whole generation of like typesetters kind of obsolete. What's the next thing?
I wanted to thank you for coming in, Aaron Draplin again, and you'll be speaking very soon. And visit him on Instagram. What are your handles?
At Draplin.
You got a website?
At Draplin.com. Once a year, I have a cousin who writes me and says, you know, you've had Draplin.com long enough. And I'll say, Justin, until I die, or you'll never get it. And I tell him,
does he want it?
Yeah, of course. He'll never. You better. In fact, I went and bought Justin Draplin just for fun. You know, no.
What a dick.
Well, no. He's a business person. I get it. You know,
so he's gonna buy it from
but before he was even alive, I locked all that stuff in. But someone, no one will cough it up. Someone's got Draplin at googlemail.com, whatever it is.
Gmail?
Yeah, whatever it is. So that's all right. I'm doing my best.
You can live with that, with the domain you need.
Got
cool. Well, yeah, check him out. He's amazing. And it was great to meet you, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Cut.